Hi and welcome to a new episode of Richer in Crypto. My name is Rogier van Kuik. My international followers can call me Roger. In this video I'm going to share the progress of my investment portfolio at Yield Notes, what my investment is doing, what kind of return on investment am I making, and what is my future perspective on Yield Notes, and what am I going to do with the funds that I invested into Yield Notes, not only on the short term but also on the longer term. I'm going to share you my vision and of course show you the numbers. But to start out, Yield Notes, if you have no idea what Yield Notes is, or maybe you have just discovered Yield Notes and you're searching on the internet for more information about Yield Notes, I did an interview with the co-founder and CEO of Yield Notes very recently. It was end August 2022. So make sure you watch that. I will link it here at the top, but you can also find it at my YouTube channel. I also made a more in-depth video about Yield Notes, but that's in Dutch. It's my Dutch channel, Een Rijker Leven. And if you guys are interested, I can translate it to English. Not very big of a problem, so maybe I'll do it in the near future. Let me know down below in the comments. But first of all, I want to start for people who are new to Yield Notes or maybe looking for some more information. Let's just take a minute, maybe 2 minutes to describe a little bit more about Yield Notes and then go into the results that I had in the past 7 months. And also compare that with how Bitcoin is holding up in the past 7 months so we can see what kind of connections there are between the two, how things are holding up, or maybe if you should have just invested in Bitcoin, or if masternoding is still interesting, not only short but also long term. So really short description of what Yield Notes is. Yield Notes is a small company, but small. In the meantime, they've grown to about 50 employees, okay? So Yield Notes started as a staking and masternoding program. And staking, we all know. You have your coins and you put them in the wallet, either on your hardware wallet, or most of you maybe put it on an exchange like Binance, for example, or Bitvavo, which is very popular in Europe. And they do the staking for you, okay? So you put in your funds and they will put it on chain, put it to a validator and get it to work. And they probably don't own the validator themselves, but it's possible that they do. You don't know that, that's not transparent. But anyway, you get your funds, you get your staking rewards, and it's nice and easy. If you want to masternode, on the other hand, which is also on-chain, it's much more complex. It's complex in all the steps you need to do, and it requires a lot more money. You need to have more of the coin in order to become a masternode. So not only do you need a server and a node of course on the blockchain, a lot of crypto, you need a lot of knowledge. It's very specific knowledge, and that's where Yield Notes comes in. They take all of that, they manage it completely, they make sure your investment is invested into masternoding so you can have the maximum return on investment. So that's very interesting. So that's, in short, a masternode differs from staking, as a masternode has different rights on a blockchain. So it's very interesting, of course, to look into that further if you want to know more about it. I'm not going in depth in this video about it right now. Also important is that the current cryptocurrencies held in the portfolio by Yield Notes are cryptocurrencies held in their own possession of their company, all right? So the 20 currencies are in possession of Yield Notes. That does not mean that 100% of those currency is in their wallet, no. Because, for example, I hold a little over $1,000 in SAPPHIRE, which is their main coin, which is also the coin that is masternoded the most. And if you want to own a masternode yourself, you need 200,000 SAPPHIRE to start your own masternoding, okay? And one SAPPHIRE is around 60 dollar cents. So 200,000 times 0.6 is a lot. It's about 120,000 US dollars required to run your own masternode. So that's why the Yield Notes program offers you can just maybe deposit, you can deposit less, you can deposit from $500, and you could, for example, put in $500, and for them to operate a masternode, they will include your balance with balance of other investors. That's how they can masternode the currency and get the rewards, and because the rewards come in, that's how they pay you your return on investment. So how about my results after 7 months? Well, as you can see, masternoded 40,000, which is as a total value of almost 2 Bitcoin, 1.98 Bitcoin, or 29.77 Ethereum. And of course, this amount fluctuates. If the value of Bitcoin and Ethereum rises, then the amount of Bitcoin and Ethereum here in the wallet will, of course, go down, because the 40,000 is fixed. If you deposit into yield notes, if you deposit Bitcoin in yield notes, it gets converted to euros, all right? So if Bitcoin goes down 50% after you deposit your Bitcoin, you will still have the value of the Bitcoin at the moment you deposit it here. So in that example, it's of course interesting. My first deposit was in March 2022. I deposited $2,500 in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin was around $39,000. Of course, that was a good decision. But if Bitcoin goes to $120,000 in the future, then maybe it would have been more interesting to have hold on to that Bitcoin and just take the value from there. But of course, I believe in diversification. Of course, I hold Bitcoin, I also hold Ethereum, but I also hold a portfolio on yield notes. So the 40,000 is fixed, and yes, if crypto goes down even further and Bitcoin goes maybe to $10,000, assuming that it would, then of course you can imagine that your value on yield notes will go down eventually, and your ROI will be either negative or zero. That's obviously right. So in my case, 40K, I didn't start with 40K. I started with 2,500 in March. It was 5,000 in April. And then in June, I invested another 6,000. And eventually in July, added up to a total sum of $40,000. So the 9,500 is a result of 7 months investing, but also compounding and adding more to my portfolio. September was 5.3% ROI, which is very good, because if you take a look at the chart of Bitcoin, then you can see, I'll make the screen big. You can see that in September, Bitcoin was down 3.2%. In August, Bitcoin was down 13.8%, but in July, Bitcoin was up plus 16.7%. But to keep it simple, if you draw a line here from June until now, you can see that the price of Bitcoin almost stabilized. Okay, so whatever fluctuations in the meantime, sideways movement for Bitcoin so far. So far so good. Yield notes has not been sideways to 0%. Yield notes has given me a nice ROI every month. So let's take a look at the report then. As I stated, and as you can see here, is that I improved my position within yield notes, and that's why you can see where my profit went from the first month only 90 euros. That was because I only had 2,500 euros deposited in yield notes, and I got 3.58% because I did not get the total interest earned on my investment for the whole month. Because if you deposit your funds, let's say today, 5 October 2022, your funds will be added to the masternode within 1 week. So you will have almost 3 weeks of interest. And so you will also receive an exclamation mark saying that you didn't get the full rewards because you did not join the masternoding for the full month. The next month I added more money. That's why you can see another exclamation mark which stated profit for this period was lower than expected due to a late deposit. Well, in May I received the full 6.5%, which was the result for May, which was very nice, of course, 344 euros, and then I added some more funds. I made 4.18% on average, and that received 465, and then I bumped it up to $40,000 euros. And then you can see in July was a good month, plus 9.2%. And July was also for Bitcoin a very nice month. Bitcoin was up 16.7%. So if you held Bitcoin in July and you didn't have yield notes, you would have had a better ROI on Bitcoin than in yield notes. But yield notes is a very consistent yield, and consistency is very nice. So if Bitcoin goes up 20% and it goes down 25%, the result is almost the same. So if yield notes does 8% in that month and 7% in the other, overall it's better. So that's why I really like it. And as you can see, in August it was 6.1%, and August for Bitcoin was a bad month. It was minus 13.8%. So yield notes did very well that month. And then September is 5.3, and September for Bitcoin was minus 3.2. So over the period of 3 months where Bitcoin was moving sideways, so over the last 3 months, your return on investment, if you held Bitcoin, was near to 0%. But for yield notes, that was not the case. You would have made 9.2% in July, 6.1% in August, and 5.3% in September. And because I am not compounding this return on investment, okay? So this yield is not compounded by me. I extract the yield because I want to mitigate my risk and I want to place the funds at other assets that might work for me and make me richer over time. So I'm compounding in another way. So if you would have compounded the effect, the 9.2%, the 3,680 euros that I made in July, they would have been added to the 40,000. And if I calculate then another 6% over 40,000 plus the 3,600, then of course 1% over, let's say 3,700 euros, easy calculation, 1% is 37 euros. So times 6, it's about maybe 200 euros-ish. Would have made that extra if I compounded. So I'm not choosing to do so. If you are willing to do so, just remember, if you compound, the compounded money is again being held locked for 6 months, okay? So that's something to take into account. So my return on investment, if you take a look at this, since I started, even though not every month has been a full month, the percentages are really, really nice, because if you look at March from September, every month it was a positive effect. But if you take a look at Bitcoin from March, this is March, through the period, let's take a look at today, it would have been minus 56%. So instead of the 40,000 being worth 20,000 today, the 40,000 is not worth 40,000 anymore because I extracted the money. The 40,000 became 49,504 euros. So I added almost 10,000 euros to my total value if I take a look at this part of my portfolio. Very good result. So where does it go from here? If we take a look at future perspective for a company such as Yield Notes, which has their own projects in their own management, they are expanding the use cases for their coins to make money in the real world, so we can all keep earning a very nice yield over our investments. They use our investment, of course, to make more money, as every business does. If you take a look at crypto, where it stands now, of course, we had a very steep correction. Just like in previous bull cycles and bear markets, we have very steep correction. Inflation is very high. The monetary policy from the Fed, from the ECB in Europe, of course, increasing the interest, making it very harder for crypto and of course for the stock market to grow. And that's of course a situation that will probably be upon us for the next year also. But if we take a look back into time, if we take a look at the chart and to the relative strength index, which shows that if a relative strength index is very low, and for crypto here on the weekly is below or around the level of 30, it means it is oversold. It means that people have dumped their assets, dumped their Bitcoin onto the market, and the prices go down, but the prices are too low. And if the RSI, if is the opposite, the RSI is really high on the weekly, as you can see here, for example, in January 2021, December 2020, and it was January 2021. You can see here that the crypto price, the Bitcoin price, was around $42,000 before a correction led to a new all-time high. But the RSI was well above the level of 70, okay? That you can see that right here. So at these levels, at these high relative strength levels, you can expect that it is overbought. That means that the price is too high. Yeah, it has overheated. It needs to cool off. But this is where it really got interesting. The second all-time high, which I thought would not be the all-time high, it would go much higher because the RSI on the weekly was only 68. So yeah, we expected it to go much higher and create a double top on the RSI as well, but it didn't happen. And then the market collapsed, and yeah, a crisis came, and everything is now, it's not different, but of course the prices are much lower. So if I take into perspective the new law that is coming, MiCA, for crypto, which will help stabilize it and bring more people and companies onto the crypto market because it's more regulated, I think there will be so much more growth in crypto. And that's why I think a company like YieldNotes has the potential to do well in the next years. So my plan is to stick with YieldNotes, but to keep it at 40,000 euros. But of course, that's my decision, that's my portfolio. You have to base it upon your own liquid assets, how much money you have in stock market or crypto, and what you want to move to a company such as YieldNotes, for example, which is a very high risk investment. So never invest money that you cannot afford to lose. It's very important to realize that. It's also locked for 6 months. There is an emergency withdrawal, but it will cost you 25%. Okay, so let's say that you put in 100,000 and you want to extract it the next day. Yes, possible, but you will lose 25k. The same with 10,000. If you want to extract it earlier, it will cost you 2,500. All right. As a punishment, as a motivation to keep you on board and to make sure that people are committed and know and accept that they are committed for a longer period of time in order for the company as YieldNotes to generate these yields. So if you are new to YieldNotes and you might want to consider investing into YieldNotes, of course, always do your own homework. Make sure you do your research before you invest. And again, never invest with money you cannot afford to lose. Also, watch my interview with co-founder and CEO of YieldNotes to take a deeper look into their company and the future perspective of their CEO and co-founder. And if you want to invest into YieldNotes, you can use my referral link, which is in the pinned comment, and you will help the channel with that. So thank you for that. And if you want to know, okay, how does it work? How do I deposit? How do I withdraw? I will show you now in 1 minute how that works. So once you have registered using the link in the pinned comment or in the description underneath the video, you go to, of course, you register your account. Yeah. And that all speaks for itself. Then you go to deposit, and then you can choose what kind of asset you want to deposit into your YieldNotes account. Again, every deposit is converted to euros. So it will become a static number and not a dynamic number if you keep your Bitcoin or your US dollar Tether or US dollar coin or SAPPHIRE coin, which you can see in the screen right here. So let's say you want to deposit 1,000 euro, then you will see how much Bitcoin that is that you need to send to your wallet if you want to send Bitcoin. Here, use the unique Bitcoin address to deposit. If it's not generated for you yet, there's a big yellow button where a wallet address will be generated. We will be binded to your account so you can send the Bitcoin to that account. And once you have sent it, it will be used for masternoding. If you are very new to this and you're like, ooh, I think this might be a little bit hard, or I find it difficult, what I always tell people to do is send a smaller amount first, okay? So for example, you want to send 10,000 euros or dollars in Bitcoin to YieldNotes, then you can, why not send maybe a couple hundred first to see if it arrives. Of course it will arrive, but just to be safe. And then if you feel confident about it, that goes for all exchanges, by the way, always send a smaller amount if you've never done it before, and then the larger amount after that. So if you make a mistake, the mistake will be on the small amount and not on the larger amount, okay? It will save you on the long run, might save you some money. So if you send Bitcoin, then send Bitcoin. If you want to send US dollar Tether, not all exchanges support the network where you need to send the Tether over, okay? They use the Tron network, TRC20. Not all exchanges support that, but Binance does support it. If you are new to Binance, you don't have a Binance account, Binance is the #1 exchange. A no-brainer in my opinion to get an account there because you have access to the most coins. It's the biggest exchange out there, they have the lowest fees, it's very interesting, and they have the most supported chains. You can send over Tron network, you can send over the Binance Smart Chain, of course ERC20 and a lot more. So you can also use, I've also posted a link in the pinned comment where you can create your Binance account and you will get a 10% ongoing discount on your transaction costs. Anyway, if you send Tether, and of course you type in 1000 again, you can see here that the amount to send is $985 Tether. And then you send it to this network around that you can see here at the bottom, which is a TRC20 network. Of course, you can also send a USDC also over the Tron network, and then you can see here again the address, which is the same address as the USDT network. Also, it's optional. You can use SAPPHIRE, and then you can generate your address, but you need to buy SAPPHIRE first, and that's not something I will cover in this video. But if you think it's interesting, let me know down below in the comments. I will make a video how you can buy your own SAPPHIRE coins, because it's also possible from the yield nodes environment. You can convert Bitcoin to SAPPHIRE, but it's also possible to use one of the exchanges to buy SAPPHIRE, which I did myself a little while ago. So let me know in the comments if you think that's interesting. So if you want to withdraw your funds, then you go to withdrawal, and then you can say, okay, how do I want to receive my yield? Do I want to receive it in Bitcoin, in SAPPHIRE, or in Tether? And important to note is that some exchanges do not accept the transfer from yield nodes to their exchange. So it's recommended to use a hardware wallet, for example, or a software wallet, which support, of course, the chain. You can select Bitcoin, select your Bitcoin wallet, select the amount that you can withdraw, and the Bitcoin will be sent there. So you can use your Ledger, your Trezor, or your Cool wallet, or whatever hardware wallet you have, or you can also use, of course, MetaMask, for example. Okay? But my advice would be, if you were to select Bitcoin to send it to a hardware wallet, just make sure that you use, for example, a Ledger, a Trezor, or Cool wallet, but make sure you use a hardware wallet. And then from your hardware wallet, once you've received the Bitcoin on your hardware wallet, then you can send the Bitcoin from your hardware wallet to the exchange of choice, and then you can convert it to whatever currency you would like to receive, for example, in your bank account, or buy other crypto with it, or maybe even hold on to the Bitcoin that you've received, whatever, that's your choice. It's that easy. If you select Tether, it's important to note that you will receive a withdrawal amount in Tether minus 1% conversion fee. So let's say that you have received $1,000 or 1,000 euros in yield, then 1% of that 1,000, which is $10, will be withdrawn for the conversion to your Tron wallet. All right? So that's easy, that's how it works. Again, if you're new to yield nodes and you want to register, make sure to use my referral link in the pinned comment. Much appreciated. You will support the channel by doing so. And again, this is a high risk investment, high risk, high reward. And make sure that you only use funds, if you do this, that you can afford to lose. That's with all investment, no matter what assets. If you are investing with money, always do it with money you can afford to lose. I want to thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed watching this video, please leave a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and of course subscribe to the channel. And I would love to hear from you in the comments what you think of the video. And if you have any suggestions for future content or questions that you have on yield nodes, please let me know and I'll make sure to answer them. I wish you a very good day. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.